What's up, everyone? It's Whacker. Welcome to a new playlist for a new draft league, of course. Hosted by Corrupt, who is a very good guy. Um, if he's usually all over my videos, so if you see him in the comments, check out his channel. He also uploads some content. Um, he's also an old man, so any attention for him would be nice. Anyways, um, this season I'm playing in his league called NGC, stands for Nigerians Gone Crazy. um, and he's got some interesting rules placed where, um, first of all, our budget is 115, which is actually pretty nice because he also forces you to draft 11 Pokemon. It can't be between 9 and 11. You have to draft 11 Pokemon. And your first Mon has to be your Terra Captain, which is why my first slot is purple. So I end up having fourth pick overall, I believe. Um, and all the Terra Captains are low tier Terras. So there was some good ones allowed. I think notably there was Terra Lucario, there was Terra um, Wochien, there was Terra Zygarde 10%. All of those are very good. However, the Terra Captain I ended up picking was mostly because I fought so hard for it to be allowed. And I was like, you know what? If I don't pick up this Mon, then like all of my work will be for nothing. And I'll probably never get to use this Mon with Terra in like ever again in the future. Like this is the time to use Terra and Namor's Therian. So Terra Namor's Therian, I think, is a phenomenal Pokemon. I've seen it perform very well in um in some leagues, some divisions. It doesn't get used as much as I think it should. I think mostly because Enamor's kind of got ripped off in the move pool. Um, it kind of got ripped off move pool wise. Like, I really wish it had like knockoff in U-turn and defog. Um, just like all the other Therian guys, or all of the other the nature trio, the nature quartet now. Is that what they're called? I almost called them the Swords of Justice. They're not the fucking Swords of Justice. Um, except she has a sword in her back in the form of that like snake-looking thing. Um, I don't know. I think Enamorous Therian has a phenomenal design, by the way. I don't. People think it's ugly, but I think she's beautiful. Just the way she is. Maybe the incarnate form is like a little bit ugly, but I find the beauty in the incarnate form. But I love the turtle. I love her so much. And I'm so excited to use her. She's very similar to Diancie. Stat wise, her HP is like 24 points higher than Diancie, which kind of makes up for the defenses being lower or lower overall. But also like a very similar speed tier. 46 isn't that far off 50, and although 50 was like cutting it close with outspeeding things after a rock polish, or in Enamous's cases, agility. Um, 46 speed is enough to outspeed uh, anything above 140 base speed. So I think she barely doesn't meet the mark for like Dragapult, but um, or Mega Greninja, which is allowed. But I it's 140 is still phenomenal. Um, in that case, and that also outspeeds like a lot of Scarfers as well, or even Scarfers that are just trying to outspeed my fastest Pokemon, which my fastest Pokemon is, um, or some of my faster Pokemon are actually like locked into an item, so I can't actually run like Scarf on them, but it's fine. Um, Anyways, the main things about Enamorus I like is it has so much set variety despite its move pool being very shallow. Like, as you can see, it has literally nothing in terms of utility. Um, like it has no defog, it has no U-turn. It does have Healing Wish. That is its one like tool that it has. It has Healing Wish. And you know what? I'll actually put that on here. Please, Wacka, please tell me that I added it for Healing Wish. Okay, thank you. I was a little bit scared that maybe it wouldn't be there for Healing Wish, but I think maybe Ballhawk had that on there for me, so I didn't have to add it. Um, yeah, Enam is pretty similar to Diancie, in terms of its move sets. You can run Iron Defense, Calm Mind, Draining Kiss, Terra Fairy, Specs Moonblast. It hits very hard. It has good coverage. The both Enam and Diancie get Earth Power, which is like the main. That's like the main coverage move I ran on Diancie like most weeks. So that having those is very nice. I guess the thing that Enam lacks over Diancie is Diancie has a setup move in the form of Diamond Storm, whereas Enam just has to click Iron Defense, which I guess is a bit more consistent. But I always liked having the damage on Diancie. Um, over the move slot that does no damage. But I guess to make up for it, like Enim has higher offensive stats on both sides. I could even run a physical set, excuse me, if I wanted to. So it's very nice. Um, anyways, I think I've talked a little bit too much about Enam. Our next mod is gonna be oh, it's okay. It's just gonna have Baton Pass over here. But our next mod's gonna be Iron Valiant. Now, I got this mon like 6 overall after the Terror Captains end up going. And I was kind of surprised that Iron Valiant ended up staying on the board, but I also realized that people in NGC are actually just crazy people because, man, I was gonna do PRs for them, but I honestly don't think it's worth it. Some of their teams are just so crazy that I don't even have words for like the things I've seen. Um, but all I know is Iron Valiant was saved for me. Um, first overall pick for or outside of the Terra Captains, I was able to pick up Iron Valiant. And this is a mod I've never used before, mind you. I had it in Cucumber Cup for like a couple weeks, but I think I didn't even bring it for like 3 weeks. And then the only other time I brought it, I think it lost to a Tyranitar, like Loki. Um, but also like everyone else had Iron Valiant, so it was just like Iron Valiant 1v1s at that point, and I was like, this is kind of lame. And I didn't like it. But now I have the chance to actually use it and be the only one that is using it. So I'm excited to see what Iron Valiant can do for my team. It has some good tools such as Encore, Taunt, Knockoff. It gets T-Wave. But for the most part, like it's either going to be breaking things for me or it's going to be sweeping. Um, Also, now that I've discussed Iron Valiant, I do have to talk about another weird rule this league has. I'm only allowed to have 3 Pokemon above 15 points. 15 points or above. So I had to be very careful with what I did with my top 3 Mons other than Enam, but Enam isn't 15 points, so um it's gonna be very peculiar. And you'll see one of my restricteds is gonna be like later down the line because really wasn't scared of it getting taken until like later. So yeah, Iron Valiant. It has so much going for it in terms of set variety. Um, Again, it's a good mixed attacker. It's pretty fast. You can run Quark Drive Speed with it, or um, I could even just run like Booster Special Attack, Booster Attack, or Choice Specs, Choice Band if I want to. I think its best set though is Life Orb, to be honest. Either I can run like Mixed Life Orb. I've seen people run like Poison Jab into like Vacuum Wave. Um, Vacuum Wave is a very good priority move, by the way. So yeah, our next mod is gonna be Corviknight. Now I was really tempted though to pick up Tapu Koko because Tapu Koko pairs very well for getting Iron Valiant's Quark Drive. And I also I wanted to get Iron Treads, but someone actually took Iron Treads early round two, which I was a little bit surprised about because I thought maybe it would go like under the radar, but I think it was my only snipe for this whole draft, and one of the reasons I wanted Iron Tread specifically was because it got both rocks and rapid spin. And if I got that, then I probably would have grabbed Tapu Koko, even though it would have been a third fairy type. Um, but the nice thing about having Corviknight and Iron Valiant is that Corv kind of covers the role that Enam is missing, and so does Val in a way. So it gives my Enam a lot more um versatility that it doesn't have to Terra Fairy or like Terra Flying defensively in case that would ever happen because now I have Corv and Valiant that can do those things, and Enam can do like completely different things. Um, so I like that a lot. Corviknight offers me defog. I think it's I don't know if it's the best defog in the format, but it's definitely up there. I think maybe the best defogger is like Torn T. Um, but Corviknight definitely doesn't mind running defog as much as Torn T minds running defog, so I guess in that sense it's better. Corviknight is my second like restricted mon, so it's 15 points. A little unfortunate. I couldn't get them to lower it to 14, unfortunately, but um, I do think Corviknight is just consistent overall. And yes, I have used this thing like quite a lot recently, but it's only because it's just a consistent mon, um, defensively as well. And it gives me a pivot, which is nice because I need more pivots. My fourth pick is gonna be Rotom Wash. So again, this is a mon that I do not like. If you've been watching my channel, that I don't really like Corv and Rotom Wash, but I like them together. So the thing with Rotom Wash here though is it was 11 points, and I think that is an absolute steal of a mon for that price because usually it's like 14, even 15 points. It's even kind of expensive in like Paldea decks where it doesn't even have removal. But here I can run Defog on it in case Corviknight wants to run like Iron Defense Body Press, which I've barely ever been able to do, by the way. But Rotom Wash allows for that variety in my sets for both of them, which is nice. Um, Clearing off hazards for Enam, like pre-Terra, is also very nice because I don't really want to run boots on my Enam unless I'm going to be running a type that's weak to rock, which is probably unlikely. Um, Rotom gives me access to Wisp, Volt Switch, and kind of an uncontested Volt Switch too because people don't want to switch in their ground types on Rotom. So that's very nice. And Rotom is kind of walled by dragons. Um, so if people want to switch in their dragon, if it's like a special attacking dragon, like a Hydreigon or something like that, I don't think Hydreigon got picked up, but like a mon like that, I can Volt Switch, bait them in, and then bring in Enam and get off a big Moon Blast. So I like the setup I have kind of going on there, and I'll have another mon later that kind of um completes like this offensive core that I had going on. But yeah, Rotom Wash with Corviknight is pretty much my main defensive core. Next up, I have Ogerpon Cornerstone, which was actually a little bit expensive. This mon was 13 points, but I actually thought Ogerpon Cornerstone fit this team pretty well in terms of being a good mixed, or not a mixed attacker, it's a mixed attacker. Um, a good physical wall breaker. I think it's the best Ogerpon in terms of wall breaking, but it's also the best one in terms of like. No, it's not the best one at wall breaking. I think Hearthflame is, but I think Cornerstone's the best at getting up spikes, which my Steel type does not do. Um, my Steel type does not get hazards, unfortunately. So having spikes is nice. I guess I also have a Rock type that doesn't get Stealth Rock, but in most instances, you don't really want to pick up a rock unless I have to, and I don't think I need a rock type because I have two really phenomenal flying resists. So having a grass rock type is helpful. And also I have Corvin Rotom Wash for ground. So I'm not worried about ground in any way. Oh, and Enam. P-Terra Enam. So I'm not worried about ground in any way. So having a grass type that's part rock doesn't matter to me as long as I have my electric resist, which Cornerstone still does. Electric and normal are its only resist, which I just realized that it only has two resists. But I think I'm not used to that because I think Cradily has Storm Drain, so Cradily has an immunity. Um, but yeah, Grass Rock is pretty good offensively. Rock helps beats the flying and the fire types for the grass coverage. And it just has an accurate rock move in IV Cudgel, which also crits. Um, it can crit, and it has like 120 base power because of the Cornerstone mask. But I also wanted to prove to Josh that Ogerpon Cornerstone is a better Ogerpon than the Teal Mask form, and I think someone picked up Teal Mask, maybe. I think someone picked up. No, I don't think anyone picked up Hearthflame or Wellspring because they were in the restricted zone. Um, I don't know why Hearthflame was down there. I think Hearthflame is one of the worst ogre pawns, but I mean they're all fucking amazing mons. Um, but yeah, our 6 mon is gonna be Mega Pyroar. So I'm happy to let you guys know that I am probably the first person to use Mega Pyroar in draft. So I'm excited to see how it performs. I honestly am a little bit scared it's not gonna perform super well in draft. Because in draft, there's a lot less setup opportunities than there are in like OU or like the Champions OU. Because I've been testing it in Champions OU and I've been loving it. In some ways, sometimes it breaks like one mon and then dies. And then other times it's just like cleaning up teams. But I'm also running like manual sun with it. Like I'm running like flamethrower overheat, scorching sand sunny day. I don't really know why I'm running Sunny Day, because now that I think about it, I think Workup might be a better option for it, but anyways, Mega Pyroar has Fireman as his ability. So basically, it is a Fire-type Dragon's Maw, because Dragon's Maw was not nerfed going into Gen 9 like Transistor was. So it's basically, yeah, yeah, Fire-type Dragon's Maw, which is actually stronger than Regidrago, unless Regidrago is holding like a boosting item like choice specs for like dragon energy sets or something like that. But like flamethrower is hitting a lot harder than a dragon claw is from Regidrago. And Regidrago hits really hard, and I think fire type is like low key kind of a harder type to switch into offensively. Especially if I do end up running Sunny Day sets, because Sunny Day pairs nicely into Solar Beam against those water types that want to come in. But I've beat stuff like Toxapex 1v1 with Mega Pyroar. Just running Sunny Day into like Flamethrower, then Overheat, and Toxapex just kind of dies. So that's kind of crazy. Next up, I have Yuxi. I decided to grab this because it was a little bit cheap, and it kind of got crapped on during the tiering phase because I think someone said it was like passive, and yeah, it is kind of passive, and but they also said it wasn't like very good anymore. But I kind of disagree. I think Yuxi is a lot better in Gen 9 than it was in previous gens because just having like a consistent like bulky mon that can T-wave things and can encore things, get up rocks, click knockoff, click memento into one of my setup mons. Like I have some good setup opportunities on this team with Ogre Pawn, Ival, Enam. Memento is going to be very good at getting those guys in. So I part of the reason I like Yuxi is because it has that, but I also mostly picked it up because I didn't have a rocker yet. Both my steel and my rock type don't have stealth rock. So I picked up Yuxi as like a primary rocker in case I needed it. Our next mon's gonna be Roaring Moon. So at this point, I picked up my last like restricted mon because there is a Sun team that was being drafted, and I was a little bit scared that Roaring Moon might end up on that team because they didn't have like any of their restricteds yet. They had I think it's Ninetales, and then they had like Walking Wake, Raging Bolt, which are just under that like that point threshold for being restricted to three. And I was like, oh shoot, maybe he'll grab Roaring Moon, even though it's another dragon on their team. But I don't know, people that draft Sun are like kind of insane people, so I didn't really want to risk anything. And I thought this would be my fun opportunity to use Iron Valiant plus Roaring Moon because they're both like the like pseudo mascot of Scarlet and Violet, and I thought they're cool. It has a good speed tier, a phenomenal physical attack stat with 139. It's a good pivot as well with U-turn. Um, it's been like a year and a half since I've used Roaring Moon, so it's been a while, and I think at this point I might be more comfortable with using it because previously my issue with Roaring Moon is that like if I couldn't sweep someone with it or like break through a team like easily, if I couldn't break through a team like more easily, then I probably just wouldn't have brought Moon because it's like, oh, this mon just can't do anything. But I think I need to be more comfortable with like sometimes I could use it as a pivot. If it's weak to something like a fairy type or it's walled by like some random steel type, Pyroar. Fairy type, I can bring in Corviknight or my next pick, which I'll be talking about soon. And then yeah, I think Roaring Moon is a great Pokemon. Um, Sometimes it doesn't have a good defensive matchup. Sometimes it doesn't have a good offensive matchup. But I think I need to consider how I can use it to benefit the rest of my team as well in the cases that it doesn't do that because I think Roaring Moon creates so much pressure on people that it forces swaps. Because if you're staying in on Roaring Moon with a Mon that can't really touch it super well because it is a bulky Mon, like Roaring Moon will end up sweeping if it gets to like +2 usually. Our next Mon is gonna be Nidoqueen. Um, I basically mostly picked this up because I just didn't have any other like poison or ground type in mind. Um, and I thought Nidoqueen fit. It's also a really consistent rocker, but also gets like T spikes, which is nice. Um, and the last time I used Nidoqueen, I liked it a lot because it's bulky. Um, it kind of has like the Clefable bulk syndrome where like its stats are really bad, but it still holds up really well for some reason, and I think mostly that's due to like sheer force and having so much good coverage. Um, but also poison ground is like really hard to switch in on, or even to hit. I've had scenarios where like I couldn't break through like a sub on a Nidoqueen, and I'm like, what do I do? And then it ends up just breaking through like most of my team. Um, I feel like the last couple times I face a Nidoqueen, I end up losing. So I'm just kind of preventing myself from losing to another Nidoqueen. Um, but yeah, our next mon is gonna be Bruxish. It was 2 points, which I thought was like pretty cheap compared to the rest of the draft board. Like there were some mons that like they had some really crazy prices. Luckily I was able to help Corrupt like fix some of his tiering because they had Furret at like 5 because it got tidy up, and I'm like that's kind of insane. But like Pop Off King. Um, but Bruxish kind of fills like a little bit of a gap on my team where like Ogerpon doesn't really want to run Scarf, Yuxi doesn't want to run Speed, and then I have kind of a gap between like Ogerpon and Rotom Wash, and I think Bruxish kind of fills that up like a little bit. Um, it's not the best thing in the world. I mean, there's got to be like a hole in my team somewhere because I think the rest of my team is like really good. But Bruxish kind of fills up some of those holes. It's also very strong in the case that I do want to use it. Um, Having strong jaw plus psychic things, wave crash, crunch, ice fang, flip turn. It also has some good setup tools in terms of it gets like Swords Dance, so I can run Swords Dance Aqua Jet. I can run. Apparently, it gets bulk up, which I didn't know until recently. So I'm gonna try to find a scenario where I can make bulk up Bruxish work because I think that would be fucking hilarious. But I think it's an underrated mon. I've been wanting to use it for a while, and I think this is the time. Both my water type and my psychic type currently aren't very offensive, and even Rotom Wash, like its only water move is Hydro Pump. So having a water type that can actually like use water moves is pretty cool. Um, Sometimes even an offensive psychic type can be kind of scary to face. Um, so yeah, Bruxish. My last one's gonna be Vulpix. I had 1 point left, so I picked up Vulpix. Initially I was gonna pick up like some other mon, but I kind of just decided on Vulpix because it has Drought, and in the case I want to use like Roaring Moon or like Mega Pyroar, um, and like clean a game with either of them, then I can just bring Vulpix with Drought and click Memento and see what I can do with that. Because I've also recently used like a sack in I was in a black and white tournament and I used a Bronzong to set up Sunny Day and then I just clicked Explode. Like I didn't really care. Sometimes you just got to use your sixth slot to set up a weather and die. Like if it benefits the rest of your team, then go for it. And I think it kind of does, because again, Rotom Wash is my like main water type. I don't really think it cares too much about sun being up, if I'm gonna be real, but like Pyroar loves the sun, Roaring Moon loves the sun. I think in some scenarios like Iron Valley or like Enam could benefit from sun if I'm running like Fire Punch Enam or like Mystical Fire uh I'm sorry, Fire Punch Val and like Mystical Fire Enam or something like that. So yeah, that is my team. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys week one when I will be facing the Prince Aldo, who has an interesting team. Let me look. This is my SPS matchup. So we'll be facing Terra Brute Bonnet, Lando T, Aegis/Slash Slowbro, Mega Halucha, Zeraora, Gardevoir, Nihiligo, Entei, Skuntank, and Porygon. By the way, we have to bring our Terra Captains every week, so Enam is always going to be on the slot, which kind of sucks for like the Vulpix strats, I think, sometimes, because that would be like I have to bring Enam, I'd have to bring Vulpix, I'd have to bring Moon or Pyroar, or like sometimes both, and then that's only 2 slots for like the rest of my team. So sometimes that kind of sucks, but at the same time, like it's whatever. Um, I'll only be bringing Vulpix like once, maybe twice, if people are lucky to see it. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys later.